Hey everybody, so today I wanted to show you a method that you can use on the SP-404 Mark II to turn a pattern into individual stems that live on individual samples. And each one of those samples will be just the drums and then just the vocals, just the bass, etc. from the pattern. And then from there, once you do that, you can do a lot of cool things, like you can send the different stems to different effects buses, you can mute some stems, you can resample the stems, and you can really just kind of almost perform the stems. And the other reason that I want to do it with this pattern is because I want to change the pitch and speed of that pattern using the vinyl mode. And I could sort of achieve that by changing the pitch and speed of every sample of the pattern and then adjusting the pattern tempo. But I want to have a little more flexibility, and I want to be able to use the individual stems to do some fun things. So this is a pattern that I created in a recent video, and right now it just has drums and some chops from a soul sample. And I think it sounds pretty cool like that, but like I said, I really want to change the pitch and the speed of the whole sample. But before I break this pattern down into stems, I want to make sure I have everything on this pattern that I want to get out of my stems. And the one thing I want to add to this pattern before I do that is some bass, so let's do that real quick. So I plugged in my bass into the input and recorded along with the pattern, but I didn't end up loving it. So instead what I'm going to do is take just a single note out of the entire bass sample that I recorded, and I'm going to play a bass line using the chromatic mode. So I'm going to go ahead and play the pattern and put it in record mode, and then I'll hop over into chromatic mode and play in a bass line. Cool, that sounds good. So now my pattern has bass, it has drums, and it has a soul chop on it. So the way I'm going to break this into individual stems is by first breaking this pattern into 3 individual patterns, one with the bass, one with the drums, and then one with the soul chops on it. The way I can do that is by copying the pattern, but only selecting certain samples. So I'll go ahead and hit copy. I'm going to select the pattern I want to copy, select where I copy it to, and then you'll see it says remain is the button you hit to choose which samples you want to copy. So I'll go ahead and hit that. And I know that's my bass right there. So I'll start with that one. I'm just going to pick that and then hit copy. And now this should be just my bass line. And then I can do the same thing for the drums and the chops. So now I've got the 3 patterns broken into the individual stems here. So from here, I want to take the 3 patterns and turn them into samples. And the way you do that is pretty easy. You just hit copy, hit the pattern you want to copy, and then instead of copying to a pattern, we're just going to switch over to sample mode and pick a sample to copy to. And now I've essentially bounced that pattern into its own sample. So I'll go ahead and do the same thing with the other 2 patterns. Cool, so now I've got these 3 essentially stems is what they are. We've got just our bass there, the chops there, and the drums there. So now I can start doing some kind of interesting things. The first thing I'm going to do is link them together. So all I have to do is hit 1 and they'll all play at the same time. And I'll do that using the pad link, which is Shift 7. I'll find an empty group, link them all together. Cool, now they're all playing at the same time. I'll also turn off the gate for all of them. You can do that with Shift Gate. Cool. And also, since I know these all came from the same pattern, I know they're all the exact same length, so I should be able to turn loop on all of them, and they should loop perfectly together. So now that we've done that, we can start to kind of have some fun with these stems. And the first thing I want to do is use the vinyl mode to slow them down and pitch them down as well. And I'll do that by playing them, and then I'm just going to go into pitch and speed, and I will hold remain while changing the pitch and speed, and then it'll change for all of the samples on the bank, so all these stems. That sounds pretty cool to me. And then I'm also going to send these to some different buses so I can use the different effects on just some of the stems. And I'll do that by switching to the second bus, and then I'll hold remain and click on the drums. So now these drums are being sent to the second bus. So even with just these 3 stems, I'm already starting to be able to do some pretty fun things. Another cool thing I can do here is use the pad mute mode by holding shift and reverse, and then selecting which pads I want to mute while it's playing back. And then I also grabbed some vocal chops that I can kind of perform over the stems. So I'll go ahead and change the stems all back to bus 1. And then I'll send all the vocal chops to bus 2. So hopefully you found that helpful, and I'll catch you next time. Later.